Hello, welcome back to the Breaking News Update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got a breaking news report coming out for the United States, and we're going to talk about the war inside of Ukraine. We're also going to talk about Russia as well in this video. And I've got some very bad news coming out from the U.S. in regards to Ukraine. But I want to show you guys this. Take a look at this on your screen. U.S. proposes recognizing Crimea as Russian territory in bid to reach deal. The United States is prepared to recognize Russian control of the Ukrainian region of Crimea as part of a broader peace agreement between Moscow and Kiev, Bloomberg News reported. Okay, so this is a very big news report breaking today. We've kind of heard this before in the past. I think back in March, the Trump administration was weighing recognizing Crimea. Looks like they're pretty serious about this. And I also reported to you guys earlier today as well, Steve Witkoff, the special envoy out of the Middle East, from the U.S. that's tasked with negotiations on behalf of the U.S. with Russia to try to broker some sort of ceasefire deal in the war inside of Ukraine. And he's been coming out recently speaking what a lot of people would say is Russian narratives, okay? And Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, has come out multiple times saying that already too, that Steve Witkoff is just passing around Russian narratives, that he stated even recently that some of these territories, aside from Crimea, that Russia's controlling, should just be given up to Russia, and Ukraine should basically just pull out of them and give them up is kind of what he's been saying. So I'm going to show you guys some different things here and kind of put together my own theory on what I think is happening here, and it's not looking good for Ukraine right now, okay? So we're going to go ahead and jump into this. I've got a couple reports I want to show you guys here, and also a video that came out from Donald Trump earlier talking about this ceasefire that we did show you in our last video that came out today, but I want to show it to you guys again, and you'll see why in just a moment. So from Hindustan Times, U.S. may accept Russian control of Crimea in Ukraine peace talks. That's just coming out today, April 19th, 2025. And actually, this time is 3 a.m., so it's a different time zone. So in my time, it's actually still April 18th at the time that I'm recording this for you guys. But it says here, Russia seized Crimea in 2014 after an invasion and disputed referendum. But most of the world refuses to recognize it to avoid legitimizing the annexation. Okay, and it says down here, the U.S. is prepared to recognize Russian control of the Ukrainian region of Crimea as part of a broader peace agreement between Moscow and Kiev, according to people familiar with the matter. The potential concession is the latest signal that President Donald Trump is eager to cement a ceasefire deal, and comes as he and Secretary of State Marco Rubio suggested on Friday that the administration is prepared to move on from its peace brokering efforts unless progress is made quickly. Crimea is taken by the Kremlin in 2014 following an invasion and subsequent referendum held under occupation, and the international community has resisted recognizing the peninsula as Russian to avoid legitimizing the illegal annexation. Doing so risks undermining international laws and treaties prohibiting the taking of land through the use of force. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has repeatedly said he will not cede territory to Moscow. But the move would be a boon for Russian President Vladimir Putin, who has long sought international recognition of Russia's sovereignty in Crimea. Putin so far has refused to agree to Trump's proposal for a broad peace deal. The people said a final decision on the matter hadn't yet been taken. The White House and State Department did not respond to requests for comment. A U.S. official familiar with the negotiations asked about the possibility of recognizing Crimea, declined to comment on the details of the talks. Okay, so this could be really bad. I mean, if the U.S. comes out and says, hey, we are now going to, as part of this peace deal, we're going to recognize Crimea. Imagine if they say so about the other regions as well. And I'm going to show you this other report here real quick that talks about the other regions that you see here on your screen. So now we're going to talk about Kherson, Zaporizhia, Donetsk, and Luhansk, okay? So let's go on over here real quick now to the Kiev Independent. Look at this report that also came out today. U.S. proposes leaving occupied areas under Russian control, easing sanctions, Bloomberg reports. Okay, so Bloomberg's reporting that the U.S. wants to recognize Crimea as Russian territory. Now they're proposing giving up the occupied areas under Russian control as well. So we're talking about these other 4 regions of Ukraine, okay? You see the dates here, April 18th, 2025. So briefly, we'll just go over this. U.S. proposals for a peace deal to end Russia's war against Ukraine would leave the occupied territories under Russian control and ease sanctions against Moscow. Bloomberg reported on April 18th, citing unnamed European officials. The report came a day after ceasefire talks between European, Ukrainian, and U.S. officials in Paris, where the outlines of the U.S. plan were discussed. U.S. officials told European counterparts during meetings that they aim to secure a full ceasefire in Ukraine within weeks, Bloomberg reported, citing undisclosed sources. Washington's proposals include an effective freeze on Russia's war. Kyiv's aspirations to join NATO would also be off the table, according to Bloomberg sources. So look at how this is shaping up, guys. A freeze in the war. Ukraine would not be able to join NATO. Crimea would be given up to Russia, from what I understand. And then also, potentially, these other four territories. Would Russia gain full control of all these other four territories, in order to reach this ceasefire deal? You guys can let me know what you think. Or would they kind of just freeze the lines where they're at? Russia would control what they have. Ukraine would control the rest. And it also says here, it is not clear if the U.S. is proposing recognizing Russia's de facto control over the occupied territories or de jure recognition of them as Russian. One of the officials told Bloomberg that the U.S. plans, which require further discussion with Kyiv, would not be a final settlement, and that European allies would not recognize the occupied territories as Russian. So this is really shaping up to look really bad here, guys. And it really makes me wonder if what's going to happen here is the U.S. is going to come up with a very crazy proposal to end this war that they know that Ukraine is not going to accept at all. And I wonder if in the end that all fingers are going to be pointed at Ukraine and they're going to say it's all Ukraine's fault, not Russia, and things are going to go very downhill from there. And here's why I want to show you this. Take a look at this from ViceGrad24 breaking: Trump on Ukraine ceasefire negotiations. If for some reason one of the two parties makes it very difficult, aka could that be Ukraine, we're just going to say you are foolish, you're fools, you're horrible people, and we're just going to take a pass. So, I personally can't see Trump saying this about Russia. That's why it makes me think that he is talking about Ukraine, but who really knows what's going to happen here. But I did show you guys part of this clip earlier in our last update regarding this war. I let you guys know Trump's statement as he came out basically agreeing with Marco Rubio, the U.S. Secretary of State, who earlier today told reporters as he was leaving Paris that the Trump administration was not going to wait around much longer, and they might pull out from these negotiations if they can't get a deal to be processed here and to end this war. So just real quick, if you guys haven't seen this clip, it's just 30 seconds. Take a look at this real quick.
Being killed in battle. It's a vicious battle with the best equipment, the best everything, and it is brutal. 2,500 young people a week. Some of them not so young, actually. They're getting older. They're getting older by the month. But 2,500 a week, and we're going to get it stopped ideally. Now, if for some reason one of the two parties makes it very difficult, we're just going to say you're foolish, you're fools, you're horrible people, and we're going to just take a pass. But hopefully we won't have to do that. Now, Marco's right in saying it. We're getting being killed in battle.
Okay, so just based on everything that I showed you guys here, so we're hearing that Crimea could be recognized by the United States as Russian territory, and then we're kind of hearing from Steve Witkoff, the special envoy from the Middle East, that's supposed to be negotiating with Russia on behalf of the United States as well. He's coming out talking about these four territories, and would Ukraine have to pull away and give these territories up in regards to this peace deal? I mean, this is looking absolutely insane already. And then when you see the statement coming out from Trump at the White House today, speaking to reporters, is he talking about Ukraine? I guess time will tell. We'll have to see what happens, but I just wanted to give you guys this information. Let me know if you think that I'm overthinking it, but it kind of seems that way, that Ukraine is going to be given a horrible ultimatum here very soon. And also at the same time, we could see all the fingers being pointed at Ukraine. And like I said earlier, things could go very downhill quickly in a short period of time. And we also heard recently, earlier today, from U.S. President Donald Trump that he refused to answer a reporter when the reporter asked him, in the event that we see the U.S. pull out of negotiations between Russia and Ukraine in this war, would aid continue flowing into Kyiv and Ukraine? He didn't really want to answer that. He refused to. So it makes you wonder if they might cut off aid to Ukraine at the same time. Okay, guys? So let me know what you're all thinking about this. Let me know how you feel about these statements coming out from Trump today, and also these articles that are breaking on the internet. Let me know what you think down below. That's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.